What's up, guys? This is Jason with SDR Motorsports. If you're watching this video, you probably purchased our brand new, revised, new and improved X3 2-seat doors. We are extremely excited to bring these to you. Makes it super straightforward to install them. So without further ado, we're gonna get right into the unboxing.
What's up, guys? So today we're going to show you how to put our brand new X3 Hybrid Series doors on. We're going to take off these stock doors and we're going to put on these hybrid doors. Follow along, we're going to unbox them. First thing we have is our panel box. We'll take this for right now, set it off to the side. Here's our first door frame. Again, we'll take this, set it off to the side. We've got another door frame here. In here, this triangle box, this is going to have most of our hardware in it. We'll break this down, open this puppy up. Here's a bag of bolts, here's a bag of bolts, and here's some brackets. Here's our hardware. You have two hardware bags. The first hardware bag is going to have this weather stripping in it. There's two rolls. Those are for the doors. Again, we'll show you how that goes on later. Here's your panel fastener bolts. And here's all the hardware for our hinge. And then we've got another empty triangle box. Don't need to do anything with this one. So that's all of the parts that come in the box. Okay, so we got our doors unboxed. We got everything set out. We'll get more to that later. The first thing we need to do is take the stock door off. 13mm socket. Put it up on top over here, right? Back this bolt, these two bolts. Pull the door open. Lift it up off the thing, set it aside. Now, these doors have already been off, so on your stock door, you've got this strap that's attached to here. You'll need to drill that rivet out or cut this strap. Throw that away, you're not gonna need that later. The only thing we're gonna need out of the stock door is the latch. We'll show you how to take that out later. There's also a clip here, right, that goes onto here that you're gonna remove that clip. You won't need that later as well. That'll leave it just like this. So now that we've got our stock door off, these are the two bolts that we took off the door. We're gonna keep these, we will need those later. Next we're gonna do is we're gonna show you how to put the hinges together. So you can see this is the orientation that they go in. Has pin nuts, so the bolts just go in from the other side. This is our driver's side hinge and swing plate bracket. We're going to take this, we're going to take these bolts, button head bolts, washers, and locking bolts. These require these nylon shims in between them. So, and we've given you plenty of shims so you can kind of see how these go together, right? Pretty simple process. These are nice and tight. We want them nice and tight because if we make these bolts loose, then the whole door can wobble a little bit, so we want it nice and tight for you. So we'll put that on there. We'll put this on. There's the bottom, right? And then the same thing for the top. Now, what we did here for you guys is we included some extra bushings. So if you wear one out, if you break one, one falls under the table, you've got some extras, so you don't have to worry about that. Same process here. We're gonna just put this all together. I like to grab the socket here, just makes it a little easier to align everything and put it all together. So this is our assembled hinge right here. So you can see we've got the two bolts top and bottom. Just get these pretty snugged up tight. They don't need to be super tight right now. We'll do that once it's on the car. You want to pre-assemble this. You'll notice that on these we have our bolt, a washer, the spacer, which is these nylon spacers here, right? Another washer, and then the nut on top. And again, just get these kind of snug. All right, so we've got our hinge assembly. We're gonna take our backing plate, our two stock bolts, and another one of our Allen head bolts. We're gonna put this assembly on the car. We've already taken the tenon clip off of here, which is a factory piece of hardware. The easiest way to do this, slide this bolt through there, your backing plate, so you can kind of see where that goes. Right? Just fits up in here. Let's take this piece, slide it over, kind of line her up. Right? You can feel that thing slide through there. Put this guy back there, onto the bolt. I like to take our socket again, because that gives me a little bit more control over adjusting the bolt. Tighten that guy down. So for right now, we're just going to put this in there hand tight, and then we're going to take these two stock bolts, push this guy all the way in, and restart these two stock bolts. So we've got our 13 millimeter socket back on our trusty electric. Tighten that guy down. So those are all tight. And then we're going to tighten down this bolt here. So,
and what size are we using for that?
this is a 7/32 Allen, right? So we've got our backing plate there. So this is just going to thread right in until it's nice and tight. Once you feel it getting tight, you're good. And that's how to put our hinge on. One of the biggest complaints we got from stock door owners or other doors, even our old doors, was that if you left the door open a little bit, the wind would catch it and it'd come flying open, damage the plastics, damage the door. You can see this one suffered that fate. So on this one, what we did is we built in this positive stop mechanism here that's built into the hinge bracket, right? So the door will only open so far. So that'll keep the panel from crashing into the plastics. So next we're gonna put the frame on. We'll show you how that goes. So we've already removed the factory latch from the stock door. That's really easy to do. Just remove the inner panel. There's two bolts. These guys right here, they're 10 millimeter bolts. We're gonna put our latch handle on. We're gonna attach this to the factory latch with these Allen head bolts here. So there's two different sizes on these guys. There is the older ones that are a little longer, and then the newer ones that are shorter. Whichever of those three holes fits your latch piece is fine. We'll get these tightened up, and then we'll get it on the car. That's how that's gonna be. This will latch, push it up, opens it up. Next thing we're gonna do is we have this tab up here. So what this tab is designed to do is it serves as a stop for the door when it contacts the frame. So that's real easy to put in, just pop it in, right, pull this through, make sure it's in there. You can kind of see how that is, right? So that's the first thing we're gonna do. Next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna put the latch on. Here's the latch, right? This is gonna just sit right inside here like that. Right. And then we'll take our stock bolts. Again, these are 10 millimeter bolts, and these bolts thread right into the latch. There is some adjustment here, so we're gonna leave these just hand tight for right now. Grab our Boxo 10 millimeter wrench, actually our Boxo 10 millimeter socket. Throw these down a little bit. So now that we've got our door frame kind of pre-assembled, we've got our latch on, we've got our bump stop on, we've got our 4 serrated bolts. No washers on these guys because it's a serrated head bolt, so it doesn't need one. We're just gonna set this up, and you'll notice here it's got these slotted holes. What those slotted holes are gonna do is they're gonna allow you to line the panel up by moving the door forward and backwards, right, so you can get it lined up just perfect for your car. So we'll get a couple of these bolts in, and then we'll shut the door for preliminary fitment. So you can see now what we can do. Once we get the panel on, we can loosen these up. We can slide this door forward and backwards, right, to get it lined up perfectly with our car. Over here, we've got these bolts so that this thing can come up or down, right, to adjust the front of the door to get it lined up perfect. So we'll get these bolts tightened up. And again, down here you can see this bump hits the frame. It makes the door quieter, cuts down on rattles, and gives it a nice solid thud when it closes. And we'll show you how to make all those adjustments here in a second. Last piece of hardware is this, called a Tenderman clip. This Tenderman clip is going to go right on this here, right? You just slide it over, right, like that. And then when we put the panel on, the bolt will go through the panel to that. So next up, guys, we're going to take the panels out of the box.
Don't worry, guys. He's a trained professional.
Not really. I'm dangerous with a razor blade. Right, here's our panels. So we've got, this one is the passenger side, and this is our driver's side panel here. So not much to do with the panels other than bolt it on.
Guys, this is also a quick little tip. When you guys receive your panels, please inspect them for damage prior to installing them. You want to make sure that they arrive safe and sound.
This is the foam tape that we talked about earlier. So it comes with 2 rolls, 1 for each door. I'll show you how to put this on and where to put it on. What we're trying to do is we're trying to isolate the panel from the frame so it doesn't rattle, it doesn't give you that tinny sound. So when you set the panel up here, you kind of see from the back side, I'll swing this thing open, that it doesn't actually touch everywhere, right? So the only place we really need to focus on getting lots of foam is exactly where it's going to touch. So the foam's going to go directly onto the door frame itself, and this stuff stretches pretty far. When you put it on, you want to peel it back like this, right, so that you have just the foam itself without any tape. Stick it down, and then you can pull it tight. So when you put this on, you want to put it down just below the center line of the tube, right? That way when you put the panel on, you're not going to see that stuff sticking up. One place that we know the panel touches is right out here, so we'll put a nice piece right here. We'll go from here, again, pull it nice and tight, giving it a little bit of a stretch, right? We'll go down about halfway, and again, this isn't an exact science, but we'll pull this around, guiding it with our finger. It's like a pinstriper, huh, Jason?
Yes, sir.
Right, pull that off, right? Put this all the way back up to here. This should give us plenty of coverage and keep that door panel from rattling at all. So final alignment of this door is going to be done with the panel on, but we may need to take it on and off a couple of times. We can't see exactly how the door lines up without the panel on, and we may need to pull the panel off just to tighten a couple of things up, but we should be good, right? We got these bolts snugged up, not fully tightened. These bolts are snugged up but not fully tightened. The only bolts at this point that are fully tightened are these 2 up here, and then this one in here. So let's grab our panel. We've got all of our panel bolts laid out. There's 5 bolts, 4 nuts, 4 washers. That's because, like we said, this one's going to thread into this clip right here. All right, so we're going to put our panel on for initial panel fitment. So it's easier to do this with the door open. So we put the bolt through, our washer, and then the nut. Same thing all the way around. One little trick that you can use is if you have a custom wrap or you have a custom paint or powder coat, something like that, and you don't want to mess that paint up, is you can take a little bit of chapstick and rub chapstick right around where the hole is. So we'll get all these bolts on. We're going to tighten these down. We don't need to tighten them all the way down, just to where the panel is in place where we want it. So again, we'll go back to our Boxo tool bin here. That's going to be a 17 millimeter rear with a 3/16 Allen on the front. So, and there's really no, alignment with the panel. It should just go right on and tighten down. We're going to shut the door, right? You can see we're a little low, right? So we want to adjust that to where you can see how that gap is just nice and clean all the way around there. So the way we're going to do that, we're going to take our 9/16 socket, right? We're going to hold the door up, and now we're going to cinch these down. Again, not 100% tight, right? But cinch down so it'll hold the door exactly where we want. Now we can open, right? We can adjust our latch. You can see here how this will slide up and down, right? What we want to do is shut it, open the latch, and then hold it where it is. You'll know once you've done it if it's in the right spot. So again, snug those down, not completely tight, right? But at least where it'll hold itself there. Test it, make sure that it shuts nice and smooth, right? And then we can give it a final, we call that a quarter turn. Little tech tidbit. So these latch releases are left and right. So what you want to do is it has an S in it. This S will read correctly. So you can see this is the passenger side and the S looks straight. And then on this one, it reads straight on here. So when you're putting these latches on, make sure left, right, left, right. Now we're going to tighten our back bolts. Begin with our 9/16. I'm going to grab a wrench this time. So we'll get those nice and snug. Again, these are serrated bolts so that they won't back out or come loose, right? Get those all nice and tight, and voila. So you can see the back side here. this bump stop is hitting here, right? So on this one, we can see that this is a little bit tight right here. So the way we're gonna fix that is we'll loosen these bolts up. We'll loosen these bolts up again, and then we'll readjust everything to make sure that it's tight. Now, so you guys know, there is a lot of variance in where this is placed. So sometimes what you might need to do is get out your manual persuader and give this a tap, right? And move this up a little bit or down a little bit to fit your car, to get the doors to fit just right. Okay, so we've gone through and tightened up our panel, tightened up here. We got all of our bolts tight. So the last step is gonna be to tighten down the hinge bolts. So we've got a 7/32 Allen bit and a 9/16 wrench. So you're gonna come back here, grab this, right? And just give this some snug, right? Doesn't need to be super tight, right? Just needs to be tight. So because this is pretty tight up underneath here, right? We'll take an Allen wrench, and then this, and we're just gonna get this final tight. Now, if you can't get in here, obviously you can do this with the, before you put the panel on, right? But if your door ever feels like it's tippy or it's moving around or not as snug as you like it, go back to these, tighten these bolts up if they need to be tightened. That'll get it dialed in for you. All right, so there it is. We're done. All we need to do is just repeat that same process for the other side, and then you're ready to hit the trail. So doors are done. You can see that positive stop keeps it from opening the rest of the way. Nice and solid. Again, from time to time, just like maintenance on anything, you want to make sure all these bolts are tight. If the door starts to feel loose, rattly, or anything like that, just go through, make sure everything's tight. So let's talk accessories. Our door bags have been one of the most popular accessories for our doors. So on the new door, right, we had to include a door bag. So this is the prototype one, so we're not gonna put it on right now, but as you can see, it fits up in there nice and tight. It's got plenty of room, right? So to put all your stuff in there. So we'll do another video where we show you how to put this guy on. Super simple install. So one last thing I wanna say. Two things I wanna say. First one is, thanks to CMX for letting us use their car. This is Batty, one of the baddest X3s around. I don't even know how much horsepower this thing makes, but from what they tell me, it's all of them. So it's got all the everything on it. Carbon fiber clutch cover, it's got our shorty cage on it. This is CMX Batty. So thanks guys, check them out, Corona Motorworks. They're actually just down the street from us. Good guys, quality work, so top notch. Secondly is Boxo for this cool cabinet array and all these tools that we use to put this thing on. Get your Boxo tool set, your Boxo tool roll. In the main Boxo tool roll, there's actually every tool you need to put these doors on. So check them out, boxo.com.
All right, guys, so Tim basically summed it up, but man, there's just something so satisfying about the sound of a job well done. So guys, I hope you found this video useful. Thank you very much for your purchase, and thank you for supporting SDR. We greatly appreciate you. My name is Jason. I'm the sales manager, so if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us at info@sdrmotorsports.com. That's info@sdrmotorsports.com. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. We have more content coming to this YouTube channel, and we post pretty regularly on our Instagram. So if you're not already following us, make sure you hit that follow button on that Instagram page. And until the next video, peace.